I'm Len May, and I'm the CEO, co-founder of Endocanna Health. We're an endocannabinoid genomics company, and I have the distinct pleasure of having Dr. Chris Spooner join me, who's a naturopathic specialist, and we're going to discuss this topic and many others. Tune in. Thanks. Earlier in our conversation about predispositions to stress and how different people relate to stress in different ways. If we can kind of dig a little bit deeper into a genetic predisposition to that and talk about cortisol, for instance, and the norepinephrine being released. So right now, people are at a heightened state, so there are different cannabinoids, and there are studies that show that they can affect some of those areas, but there's also some genetic predispositions, like looking at SNPs and genotypes related to Fa and the enzyme that they produce to affect anandamide, which is actually a endogenous endocannabinoids produced to help regulate some of the stress that goes on to in an individual's endocannabinoid system. So if somebody has a genetic predisposition towards having an adverse event, should they look at consuming less cannabis, more CBD, less CBD? Is there a direction that, your genotype, and I completely agree with you on the epigenetic and the lifestyle part of it, but can you use your genotype and your genetics to kind of guide you in that direction so you know how to consume that's a little bit more personalized to the individual?
Sure, and certainly, like you mentioned, Fa and that as well too. So that's that. But again, I mean, looking at it in a more holistic context, things like the COMT, and those are the things that that's one in particular, and we take a look at things like the dopamine receptors as well too, so COMT, dopamine, Fa. All those make up sort of this sort of axis through the adrenal glands and the hypothalamus and the stress response. So those become, if you understand, particularly around the COMT, you have the worrier and you have the warrior phenotypes, right? So what happens is in the warrior phenotype, you've actually got I'll give you the analogy. Let's take you're a kitchen sink, right? So basically, if stuff is coming in and the level fills up and then it's all coming out through the drain at the bottom. Right? Well, that drain is this COMT genetics that helps those stress hormones and other hormones, things like estrogen as well too, and dopamine, how quickly those drain out of your system. So the warriors have big drains. It comes in, it goes out there. Yep, got it. Boom, it's done. The worrier part of it has a smaller drain. So that stuff builds up and it hangs around in your system longer. And we do know that some of the cannabinoids interact with COMT, and with those dopamine responses and can help modulate those. And that's where some of the genetics starts to come in, is that you can sort of overlay that and start to say, okay, look, here's where we can fit in. I have this type of a warrior or warrior genotype. I may need to do something that's got maybe a little bit more of the calming terpenes, things like the linoleuls and the myrcenes part of it, or you may be one of these people that, you're really ramped up and excited or something like that as well too. And things like pinene, which tend to be a little bit more on the stimulating side, maybe that's not the one for you as well either. So you can use those combinations of those pathways to start to tailor in definitely on some of your strain selection and cannabinoid formulation, and also help manage some of that stress outside of it as well too.
Hey everyone, I hope you found this information super helpful. Please don't forget to subscribe below right here, and stay tuned for all the latest and greatest from Endocannabinoid and what we have to say about your endocannabinoid system and DNA. Because remember, cannabis is personal. Stay healthy, stay well. Thank you.